So hello guys, what's up and welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's me, your girl barrister Neze, and this is Nezeville. About a week ago, news of late baby Ifeanyi Adeleke's passing made it out. He is said to have drowned in a pool right in his home shortly after his parents took a trip away from town. I would leave a link to a previous video where I have spoken extensively about all of that background information. I'll leave that link right in the description box so you can watch it to get a wind of how this whole incident happened. So since this tragedy broke out in the normal fashion of humans, the blame game began immediately. And the first hits were sadly the parents of the deceased. It is some people's opinion that his parents didn't do enough to guarantee the safety of their child in their presence and more especially in their absence. They say that swimming is an activity that this child was oftenly engaged with his father in, and he was bound to try it out in his father's absence due to the usual curious nature of children of that age. They wonder why some sort of fence or some kind of barricade was not erected or in place to keep the child away from that arena, to make that pool inaccessible to that child even in their absence. They claim that this couple put aesthetics above safety. More painful for this set of people, as they claim, is that a very similar occurrence had occasioned only a few years ago, where another popular Nigerian singer, Davido, and his wife lost their son of similar age under this exact circumstance, drowning in a pool at his residence. They wonder why this child's parents didn't learn from that occurrence, why they didn't take more precaution, why they didn't do things differently. Now, that is a school of thought from a set of social media users. But the main blame and searchlight is beamed on the domestic staff. Almost a dozen of them engaged, employed, and paid solely to cater to the security and safety of this poor child. People are livid with anger. They wonder how a 3-year-old could evade the sight of all these employees and then snuck his way to the poolside without being seen, and then went ahead to jump into the pool and get drowned under their watch, in their care, before their very eyes. 8 adults. According to these sets of thinkers, that is simply unforgivable. And to them, the only set of people who are deserving of blame and punishment are these set of domestic workers whose duty it was to cater to that child. So on these two schools of thoughts, the school blaming the parents for not providing adequate safety, knowing that if a tragedy happens, the loss and pain will be more on them than any other person in the world, or the domestic staff who were paid to look after this child and failed woefully in their responsibilities. Do let me know what you think in the comment section about this argument that have been making the rounds on social media. So the Lagos State Police Command have confirmed that all 8 members of staff in Davido's employment who were present in the house on the day of that tragic incident have been arrested. Well, not an arrest per se, they were brought in for questioning. And after thorough questioning and investigations, the police have released 6 members of staff and have detained 2, the nanny and the chef. Well, expectedly so, because there were the staff, there were the ones who had direct interface with that child shortly before his disappearance and eventual passing. And more expectedly, the nanny, whose sole primary responsibility it was, whose key job function it was to exercise a direct duty of care to that child. Well, every incident of this nature always comes with legal repercussions and legal implications. And as a barrister, in this video, I would like to keep emotions and sentiments away and have us discuss this legally speaking. Before I bring this video to an end, it's very important that I discuss what the law has to say about this unfortunate incident, because where there is a wrong, there is sure to be a remedy. Now, when it comes to the law, it is not only an intention to harm or an intention to kill that amounts to a crime. It is possible that one had good intentions only, had no prior motives, no criminal intent, but still be held responsible for an incident. And not only being held responsible on the surface, I mean get to pay for it with jail time. And this kind of incidents are usually covered under the law governing negligence. Negligence in law has four very vital elements which has to be in existence before anyone can be held liable for it. First, there must be a legal duty of care. Whoever is being held liable or accountable for this negligence must be obligated under law to perform a duty of care to the person who he or she fails to perform it to. Secondly, that duty must have been breached. In other words, simply said, that person failed in that duty to exercise care, whether intentionally, whether erroneously, whether by mistake, whether negligently. As long as that person had a duty of care and fails to exercise that duty, that is the second ingredient, the second element of negligence in law. Thirdly, there was a harm or injury suffered as a result of that failure to exercise the duty of care. So if there was a failure to exercise duty of care and it resulted to no harm, no injury, nothing at all, you cannot hold that person in negligence according to law. There must be a harm or an injury suffered as a result of that negligence. That is the third ingredient. And lastly, the breach of duty to care, or in other words, the negligence in this case was the reason for the injury. So if somebody was negligent, but it was not that negligence that led to the harm, you cannot hold that person for negligence. The harm must have been a direct impact. It must have been influenced as a result of that failure to exercise the duty of care. So those are the four elements that must be proven in courts before you can hold anybody liable for negligence. I hope I'm communicating. So in law, negligence can either be civil or criminal. There is what they call the civil negligence, and there is a more serious version called the criminal negligence. The civil negligence is not life-threatening. It's one that leads to maybe an inconvenience or an emotional trauma or a loss of finances, a financial loss, that is a civil negligence. I'll tell you this true life story that I've come across in my course of practice on civil negligence, okay? It was a case of a customer who went to an eatery and purchased pasta, I think, and in the course of eating that pasta, she chewed on a broken glass and she took the restaurant to court. Now, the court held that restaurant negligent in ensuring the quality of food that is served to its customers. That is civil negligence. Criminal negligence, on the other hand, it's of a more serious nature. It's the type that happens when a driver driving recklessly hits and injures or kills a pedestrian, and more relatively is the case of what we have on ground when it comes to Davido's domestic staff and the loss of their son. So in the case of criminal negligence, that negligence must have led to the loss of life or causing grievous bodily harm. So while a civil negligence is punishable by awarding damages, monetary damages to the affected person or party, criminal negligence is a crime and is punishable by not just damages but a jail term. It is a more serious situation. And very apparently, This case tilts more to criminal negligence because this nanny owed this family, this child, a duty of utmost care, and she failed to exercise that duty. If this case goes to court, if this case goes to trial, and she is found guilty of criminal negligence leading to the death of that child, she will be in for some deep mess. It wouldn't matter if she didn't mean to hurt him or harm him. It will be totally inconsequential, even if she loved that child as though he was hers. The law is the law, and she will be in for some big trouble. Do let us know in the comment section what you think about this right here. Do you think that there is no need for all of this? This is medicine after death. Nothing can bring this child back. So why reopen the wounds going to court and recounting all the gory incidents? A child is a child. They are always restless. They never stay at a place. It is not possible to keep an eye on them 24/7. Not even their biological parents can keep an eye on a child 24/7. It may have even happened if his parents were around. It is just an unfortunate situation. This nanny didn't mean to harm this child. She possibly loved him and took care of him in his lifetime. Is this your pattern of thoughts? Or do you call this ridiculous nonsense? Do you believe that these staff had only one job, just one job, to take good and adequate care of this child? This is what they were paid for. All 8 of them. Do you believe that someone has to be held accountable for this tragedy? They have to atone for their crime. And if the law's prescription for this kind of behavior is a jail term or imprisonment, then so be it. They should dance to the music. Let us know what your thoughts are. Which of these 2 schools of thoughts do you belong to? This incident, I have no words to describe it. It is beyond the tragedy. And if third parties can feel this level of hurt and pain, we can only imagine what the family, what his dad and his mother must be feeling or going through right now. May the soul of late Master David, Ifeanyi Adeleke, and all the souls of the faithful departed through the mercy of God rest in perfect peace. Amen. Don't forget to drop all your reactions in the comment section. There are no right or wrong answers. It's me, your girl, Barrister Neze, and this is Nezeville. I'll definitely keep you posted as more news come up. Stay glued and watch out for some more. Goodbye.